that down a little bit. Turn that down a little bit. Turn that. Mute my desktop audio. Okay. That sounds good, right? Okay. Turn up just a little bit. Now I'm gonna mute myself over here. Okay. Should be good to go. All right. So I was skipping the introduction and the biographical materials. Guess we'll start with the letter dedicatory. Letter dedicatory. All right. To my most honored friend, Mr. Francis Godolphin of Godolphin. Honored Sir, your most worthy brother, Mr. Sidney Godolphin, when he lived, was pleased to think my studies something, and otherwise to oblige me, as you know, with real testimonies of his good opinion, great in themselves, and the greater for the worthiness of his person. For there is not any virtue that disposeth a man, either to the service of a God or to the service of his country, to civil society or private friendship, that did not manifestly appear in his conversation, not as acquired by necessity or affected upon occasion, but inherent and shining in a generous constitution of his nature. Therefore, in honor and gratitude to him, and with devotion to yourself, I humbly dedicate upon to you I humbly dedicate unto you. Uh, well, what just happened? I just started hearing myself. Did I push a button? Alright, sorry about that. Haha. Covered up the fact that I stumbled over the sentence. So deceptive, so vile. Therefore, in honor and gratitude to him, and with devotion to yourself, I humbly dedicate unto you this my discourse of commonwealth. I know not how the world will receive it, nor how it may reflect on those that shall seem to favor it. For in a way beset with those that contend on one side. Why does it keep doing that? What am I doing? Am I pushing a button? Keeps unmuting itself. Stop that. Stop that. I'm not touching anything. I know not how the world will receive it, nor how it may reflect on those that shall seem to favor it. For in a way beset with those that contend, on one side for too great liberty, and on the other side for too much authority, 'tis hard to pass between the points of both unwounded. But yet, methinks, the endeavor to advance the civil power should not be by the civil power condemned, nor private men, by reprehending it, declare they page flip declare they think that power too great. Besides, I speak not of the men, but, in the abstract, of the seat of power, like to those simple and unpartial creatures in the Roman Capitol, that with their noise defended those within it, not because they were there, not because they were they, but there, offending none, I think, but those without, or such within, if there be any such as favor them. That which perhaps may most offend are certain texts of Holy Scripture, alleged by me to other purpose than ordinarily they used to be by others, but I have done it with due submission, and also, in order to my subject, necessarily, for they are the outworks of the enemy, from whence they impunge the civil power. If, notwithstanding this, you find my labor generally decried, you may be pleased to excuse yourself, and say, I am a man that loved my own opinions, and I think all true I say, that I am honored your brother, and honored you, and have presumed on that to assume the title, without your knowledge, of being, as I am, Sir, your most humble and most obedient servant, Thomas Hobbes, Paris, April 1525, 1651. The introduction. Nature, and he defines it in parentheses, the art whereby God hath made and governs the world. He calls nature an art. The person who owned the book, hang on, the person who owned the book previously circled art. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's interesting that he calls it the art. So there's a note down here. As Hobbes notes, his title alludes to Job 41, where Leviathan is a sea monster whose symbolic meaning is obscure. Lib God damn. Why does it keep unmuting? Jesus. Leibniz, I don't know how to say that name, found Hobbes's work monstrous even in what its title suggests. Letter to Jacob Timasius. Hobbes himself hints that the title may be irreverent. Perhaps the problem is that Leviathan was often associated with the devil. C.F.S. Aquinas in the Little Exposition on Job, especially Jean Bodin in the Colloquium of the Seven. So they didn't like it, and he said that, well, it's just because it's associated with the devil. I didn't put much thought into it. I think that's what basically that note says. Nature. The art whereby God hath made and governed the world is by the art of man, as in many other things, so in this also imitated, that it can make an artificial animal. Nature is by the art of man, as in many other things, so in this also imitated, that it can make an artificial animal. And it unmuted again. I don't know what's up with that, man. Can I just... Okay, desktop audio is muted. Oh, you know what? Right click. I can mute the tab. So smart. So smart. So smart. Okay. All right. Alrighty. I don't understand this at all. Nature, the art whereby God hath made and governs the world, is by the art of man. I don't know what by the art of man means. It stands next to the art of man. Like nature is an imitation of the art of man. And as in many other things, so in this also imitated that it can make an artificial animal. Foreseeing life is but a motion of limbs, the beginning whereof is in some principal part within. Why may we not say that all automata, automata, engines that move themselves by springs and wheels, as doth a watch, have an artificial life? For seeing life is but a motion of limbs, the beginning whereof is in some principal part within. Why may we not say that all automata, engines that move themselves by springs and wheels, as doth a watch, have an artificial life? Wait, what the fuck? This guy's suggesting that everything is conscious in 1668. Oh my God. No, in 1651. Man, that is crazy. I'm hearing things about that like recently. Okay. Yeah, I hear scientists that are going off on that recently that everything's conscious. Okay. For what is the heart but a spring, and the nerves but so many strings, and the joints but so many wheels, giving motion to the whole body, such as it was intended by the artificer? Art goes yet further, imitating that rational and most excellent work of nature, man. For the art is created, that great Leviathan called a commonwealth, or state, in Latin civitas, which is but an artificial man, though of greater stature and strength than the natural, for whose protection and defense it was intended, and in which the sovereignty is an artificial soul, as giving life and motion to the whole body. The magistrates and other officers of judicature and execution, artificial joints, reward and punishment, by which fastened to the seat of the sovereignty every joint and member is moved, is moved to perform its duty, are the nerves, that do the same in the body natural. The wealth and riches of all the particular members are the strength. Salus populi, the people's safety, its business. Counselors, by whom all things needful for it to know are suggested unto it, are the memory. Equity and laws, and artificial reason and will. Equity and laws, and artificial reason and will. Equity and laws are an artificial reason and will. Damn. This guy's fucking smart. Okay. I can't believe he was talking about this stuff. He's basically saying we don't have free will, but he's not saying it because he would get in trouble back then. He'd be a heretic. He's like, I'm Christian, guys. I'll throw the word God in there a couple times. Okay. Concord is health. I don't know what concord means exactly. Sedition, sickness. I don't know what sedition means. Sedition is maybe treachery or something? Sedition is bad. We should probably Google these words. Concord meaning. Sorry. Alright. Agreement or harmony between people or groups. Okay, so that's good. That's health. And then sedition. That's probably bad. That's probably that's probably that's probably that's probably unhappy score in Civ 5. Sedition meaning. Conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. Okay, I knew it had like a rebellion sort of connotation to it. Okay, and what is that? Sickness. Okay. And civil war means death. Well, how long ago was the Civil War? Never mind. We're not going to go down that tangent. All right. Lastly, the pacts and covenants by which the parts of this body politic were at first made, set together, and united, resemble that fiat. What does fiat mean? Or let us make man, pronounced by God in the creation. I don't know what fiat means. Dude. A decree. This pompous ass. So, just as a bit of backstory, this guy, he wrote the Leviathan, and then people critiqued it, and they misunderstood it, and that pissed him off. So he rewrote it in Latin and added additional arguments in it. So this guy, the editor, kind of put together the two arguments from the Latin version and from the English version. This guy just basically said "fuck you." All right. Lastly, the pacts and covenants by which the parts of this body politic were at first made, set together, and united, resemble that fiat, or the let us make man, pronounced by God in this creation. Okay, so I think he's basically saying, we're made in God's image. God made man, so we are making um, a type of man by promoting, well, it doesn't talk about this yet, but by promoting one guy to by establishing a Leviathan, which is like a form of government. And then this Leviathan is represented archetypally as a man. To describe the nature of this artificial man, I will consider first the matter thereof and the artificer. I think God is an artificer, or man is an artificer. both which is man. So he's saying that it's made of man and it's created by man. The Leviathan is. And so this is just the introduction, but the Leviathan is basically, I think it's like giving all of your rights to one guy. You basically sign a social contract or something like that, and well, let me get back in frame. And you sign all your rights away to one dude, and he's supposed to like uphold all the stuff. But then you have all these other, government people, I guess, that do a bunch of other stuff. That he's describing that, and then he's describing that as a body. And he's also describing materialism, kind of. To describe the nature of this artificial man, I will consider first the matter thereof and the artificer, both which is man. Secondly, how and by what covenants or pacts or decrees it is made. I think that means the same thing as fiat. What are the rights and just power or authority of a sovereign or a king? And what is that preserveth Oh, and what is it that preserveth and dissolveth it? So he's like, what keeps it alive and what kills it? Thirdly, what is a Christian commonwealth? Lastly, what is the kingdom of darkness? Oh, fuck. I didn't hear about that. Concerning the first, there is a saying, much usurped of late, that wisdom is acquired not by reading books, but of men. Consequently, whereunto those persons that for the most part can give no other proof of being wise take great delight to show what they think they have read in men, by uncharitable censures of one another behind their backs. But there is another saying, not of late understood, by which they might learn truly to read one another, if they would take to the pains, and that is, nos tepsum, in English, read thyself, which was not meant as it is used now, to countenance either the barbarous state of men in power towards their inferiors, or to encourage men of low degree to a saucy behavior towards their betters, but to teach us that, for the similitude of the thoughts and passions of one man to the thoughts and passions of another, whosoever looketh into himself and considereth what he do, doth, doth, when he does think, opine, reason, hope, fear, and see, I don't know what see is, and upon what grounds he shall thereby read and know what are the thoughts and passions of all other men upon the like occasions. He's basically just saying, like, know yourself, and then you can have more empathy towards others. I say the similitude of passions, which are all the same, which are the same in all men: desire, fear, hope. I don't know what and see is. I don't know what and see is. It's an ampersand and a C. Okay. I don't know what that means. What does and C mean? Oh, etc. Okay. Why would you abbreviate etc. and C? Whatever. Oh my goodness gracious. What happened to the stream? Why does it look like that? Okay. That looks a little bit better. Okay. When he does think, opine. What is opine? Opine meaning hold and state as one's opinion. Hope, fear, etc. And upon what grounds he shall thereby read and know. Oh, so is he saying that the Leviathan could also think, opine, reason, hope, and fear? And upon what grounds he shall thereby read and know what are the thoughts and passions of all other men in the like occasions. I say the similitude of the passions, which are the same in all men, desire, fear, hope, etc., not in the similitude of the objects of the passions. So he's saying, we have base passions and desires, like desire, fear, and hope, but we don't desire for the same things or hope for the same things, or the objects of the passions, which are the things desired, fears, hopes, etc. For these, the constitution individual and particular education do so vary, and they are so easy to be kept from our knowledge, that the characters of a man's heart, blotted and confounded, as they are with disassembly, lying, counterfeiting, and erroneous doctrines, are legible only to him that searcheth hearts. So you're saying you can only you can only tell when people are like lying, how deceitful they are and everything, if you search your own heart. And though by men's actions we do discover their design sometimes, yet to do it without comparing them with their own, and distinguishing all circumstances by which the case may come to be altered, is to decipher without a key, and to be, for the most part, deceived by too much trust or by too diffidence, as he that reads is himself a good or evil man. But let one man read another by his actions, never so perfectly, it serves him only with his acquaintance, which are but few. He that is to govern a whole nation must read in himself, not this or that particular man, but mankind. So it's saying if you are to govern, you have to be able to read your populace, not just one or two people. Which, though it may be hard to do, harder than to learn any language or science, yet when I shall have set down my own reading, orderly and perspicuously, the pains left another will only to consider if he also find not the same in himself. For this kind of doctrine admitteth no other demonstration. Perspicuously, I think that just means tenacious. Perspicuously. To speak right or explain something in a manner which is exceptionally clear, lucid, and easy to understand. Okay, I was wrong. Part 1 of Man, Chapter 1 of Sins. Concerning the thoughts of man, I will consider them first singly, and afterwards in train, or dependence upon one another. Singly, they are every one a representation or appearance of some quality or other accident of a body without us, which is commonly called an object. Which object worketh on the eyes, ears, and other parts of a man's body, and by diversity of working produceth diversity of appearances. I think he's trying to describe reality. It's basically things interact with us, and that's how we Um, that's how we come up with thoughts, single individual thoughts. The original of them are perception. The original of them is all that which we call sense. Yeah. For there is no conception in a man's mind which hath not at all, totally or by parts, been begotten upon the organs of sense. The rest are derived from that original. To know the natural cause of sense is not very necessary to the business now in hand, and I have elsewhere written of the same at large. Nevertheless, to fill each part of my present method, I will briefly deliver the same in its place. The cause of sense is the external body or object which presseth the organ proper to each sense. So he's literally just saying that your internal experience and everything that happens inside of you is just mechanistic. It's just things interacting with your sense organs, like the sense organs in your skin and tongue and eyes and stuff like that. It's just a causal series of events, is what he's saying. A mechanical causal series of events. Okay. The cause of sense is the external body or object which presseth the organ proper to each sense, either immediately, as in the taste and touch, or mediately, as in seeing, hearing, and smelling, which pressure, by the mediation of the nerves, other strings and membranes of the body, continue inwards to the brain and heart, causeth there a resistance, or counter pressure, or endeavor to the heart to deliver itself, which endeavor, because outward, seems to be some matter without. And this seeming or fancy is that which men call sense, and consisteth, as to the eye, in a light or color figured, to the ear in a sound, to the nostril in an odor, to the tongue and palate in a savor, and to the rest of the body in heat, cold, hardness, softness, and such other qualities as we discern by feeling. All which qualities called sensible are in the object that causeth them but so many several motions of the matter, by which it presseth our organs diversely. Neither in us that are pressed are they anything else but diverse motions, for motion produceth nothing but motion, but their appearance to us is fancy, the same waking that dreaming. And as pressing, rubbing, or striking the eye makes us fancy a light, and pressing the ear produces a din, so do the bodies also we see or hear produce the same by their strong, though unobserved action. For if those colors and sounds were in the bodies or objects that cause them, they could not be severed from them, as by glasses, and in echoes by reflection, we see they are, where we know the thing we see is in one place, the appearance in another. And though at some certain distance the real and very object seem invested with the fancy it begets in us, yet still the object is one thing, the image or fancy is another. So he's saying like because shit refracts in water, the thing and the image of the thing is separate. So that sense in all cases is nothing else but original fancy. He's saying that the sense is the fancy, which is like leftover action from the external object after it's been filtered by our organs. I think that's what he's saying. Let me write that down. Sense is a feeling? What did he call it? He did call it a feeling. Sense is a feeling derived from excess force. So maybe he's familiar with Newton. Was Newton for this guy? There's a genealogy or a history here, so I could take a look at the beginning of the book and see. Sense is a feeling derived from excess force, uh, which was filtered through our sense organs after being received um, after being received from an external object. Sense is he called it an image or appearance. From the colors and sounds with the bodies or objects that cause them, they can be severed from them. Um, mm, Yet still the object is one thing, the image or fancy is another. So he's just saying sense is the... So he's saying... Oh, fuck. He's saying in... It'd be faster if I type this shit. An external object Okay. Alright, so I did a little summary right there. An external object exerts a force upon us. Our sense organs filter it. The leftover force produces a fancy or an aim, which is in itself a sense like sight or touch. He thinks this sense is separate from the thing in itself and gives refraction of light through water as an example. The thing is not where we ascertain the image to be located, therefore the image is separate from the thing in itself. Okay, almost done with chapter 1. So that sense in all cases is nothing else but the original fancy caused, as I have said, by the pressure, that is, by the motion of external things upon our eyes, ears, and other organs thereunto ordained. 5. But the philosophy schools, through all the universities of Christendom, grounded upon certain texts of Aristotle, teach another doctrine, and say, for the cause of vision, that the things seen sendeth forth on every side a visible species, in English, a visible show, apparition, or aspect, or a being seen, the receiving whereof into the eye is seeing. And for the cause of hearing, that the thing heard sendeth forth an audible species, that is, an audible aspect or audible being seen, which entering at the ear maketh hearing. So he's saying that's what that's what the typical understanding was at the time, that sound and sight had an aspect to itself, and entered into you, making hearing or sight. Nay, for the cause of understanding also, they say the thing understood sendeth forth intelligible species, that is, an intelligible being seen, which com- which coming into the understanding makes us understand. My God. Nay, for the cause of understanding also, they say the thing understood sendeth forth intelligible species. Oh, so if you understand a thing, it's he's claim. I think this is a straw man. He's saying, well, these guys think that uh, even to understand something, the thing is sending an aspect of understanding for you to receive its understandingness. It's probably a straw man. I say not this as a disapproving the use of universities, but because I am to speak hereafter of their office in a commonwealth. I must let you see on all occasions, by the way, what things would be amended in them, amongst which the frequency of insignificant speech is one. So he's roasting the universities, which are Christian at the time. Okay, that was chapter 1, part 1 of man, chapter 1 of sense, and we also read the introduction. Let's go ahead. Hang on. Let me see. Was Newton before this guy? There's an introduction here. Like a genealogy or something. Hobbes' first autobiography first appeared in Latin. Oh, okay, I was wrong. And is reproduced in Molesworth, Opera Latin. Latina, okay. Though Hobbes himself is the author, he writes about himself in the third person. Of course he does. Okay, so this is around the time people were being burned for doubting the proofs of Jesus' divinity, so he's got to be super careful here. He was definitely not a Christian. Or he might have been, he might have been some version of one, but not a traditional Christian by any sense. Hobbes becomes a member of the Virginia Company. Wow. Which is involved in the settlement of Virginia. Galileo publishes the Assayer. So Newton was before this. Newton might have been after this. But Newton was after this. How did he This is crazy. How does he know all this stuff? Is it Jonathan Hobbes? Or Thomas Hobbes? Thomas Hobbes. Before or after Newton? Essentially, he's describing Newton's first law in 1951 when Isaac Newton was 9 years old. To quote Newton's Scholium follows his statement of the laws of motion in his Principia. Hitherto I have laid down such principles as have been received by mathematicians and are confirmed by abundance of experiments. By the first two laws and the first two corollaries, Galileo discovered that the descent of bodies observed the duplicate ratio of the time, and that the motion of projectiles was in the curve of the parabola. He didn't take credit for the three laws. Oh, so it was Galileo. Okay. So the idea evolved from Galileo. We're gonna answer this question. I wish I had a different color pen. I do, red. No, he was actually in pins running out. Darn. Influenced by Galileo. Okay. All right, next is chapter 2 of Imagination. Let's see. None of the pages are dog tagged, so I'm not going to dog tag them. I read 6 pages, that's it. All right. All right, that's it. We're not doing a lot. That's gonna be the end of the stream. I'll probably just do like an hour or so a day. I just moved into a house. That's why this wall is a disgusting green. So I got a lot of work to do. But I'll try to see what I can do. We gotta learn in order to rebel against the machines. That's all I gotta say. Have a good night.